Hi North Haven, this is going to be the long form tutorial on WeVideo. If you want a specific skill and you don't want to watch this whole video, you can check this playlist. You can also, if there isn't a video on it in our playlist, in our YouTube channel, if you check the channels category or the channels tab, there is a subscription to the WeVideo YouTube channel in there. They also have quite a few videos and they're very good. So if you can't find a skill video in this channel, you can check that channel too. For those of you that need to create an account, for right now for the summer, if you're watching this in the summer before the school year, what you can do is you can sign up with a 30-day free trial. The district is going to purchase it, so for the fall you will be able to do a setup and it'll already be paid. But for now, click sign up and then come to this part right here that says education. And then down here on the left, there's a try it today. And that will sign you up for the free 30-day trial. You just have to sign up with Google. It is going to ask you your school name and everything to make sure that you're an educator because it's supposed to be just for teachers. But that's how you sign up for the free trial if you want to play with it in the summer. After that, to log in, you just click log in with Google, and it will bring you to your dashboard. So in the dashboard, the important parts are over here on the left, it says use time and use storage. That isn't going to be specific to individuals. That's going to be for the whole district, but that isn't something you need to worry about. If for some reason we are running out of time and storage, that's something that Jen or Martha will be able to address. In the create new area here in the center, you have video creation. And if you click that, it's just going to bring you right to the editor and ask you to make a project. If you don't want to do that, you can always click back to the dashboard. You can also record. So instead of using Screencastify or Google Meet, you can still record your live meets, but if you want to make something separate as a video for your students, you can click record. And you can do it with your webcam, you can do a screencast, or you can do a screencast and your webcam at the same time. I can't demonstrate that for you right now because I only have the one camera hooked up. I will hopefully be able to make another video later once I have two cameras set up, and then I can show you how that works. I'm going to go back to the dashboard. You can also make GIFs, and you can make a podcast. A note about the podcast. You don't necessarily need to start with this tile for a podcast. Whenever you make a video, so like for instance, if I come down to this video right here, when I go to publish it, it gives me the option, if you look right here in the top center, for audio only, which would make it a podcast. So you don't have to select podcast if you're going to make a podcast. You can make a video and then just export the audio by itself to make a podcast. You can also start with a template just by clicking on one of these. If you want to see more, you click the three dots and it has extra templates. Later, I'm going to show you there is a space where you can make your own templates. So if you want all of your lessons for your students to have the same format, you can make a template for yourself and then just put in your video clips into that template. Down in this big gray area will be your most recent edits. It's kind of like the quick access bar in Google Drive at the top, but this is just down here at the bottom. If you want to work with one of those, you mouse over and it will let you delete, rename, or if you edit, it will take you into the video editor. Those are the main parts on your main dashboard. You also have a projects tab. In the projects tab, it will be all the projects you've been working on. If you want to, you can also create folders. The way you create the folder is you can right click in the gray space and click new folder. You can also use that to create a new project. Another way that you can add things is mouse over this plus sign at the bottom right, which is behind me, but there is a blue plus sign down there. And you can either click to create a new project, or if you come up, there'll be a blue circle with a folder, and that will create a new folder. In the shared with me are projects that other people have shared with you to work on and to collaborate with. Notice I had a student, Hermione, who has started a project, and so that's in shared with me. And so I can go in and I can view her project and I can make edits or comments. So that is one thing about WeVideo that you can do, is you can come in and edit your students' work or add comments to your students' work. A lot like you have that functionality in Google Drive with Google Docs and slides when they're working on stuff. Another nice feature in the folder, so if I create a folder, I can create subfolders just like you would in File Explorer or Drive. So that is a nice option. And the same thing, just right click, create new folder. You can move things into the folders by right clicking and clicking move. You can also rename your projects in the right click menu. You can invite other people to work in the project. So that's similar to the shared with me in the Google Suite. So I could invite someone to my project. I just click invite. You can invite them with a link in their email, or if it's someone in the group that you can find quickly, you click select members or groups, next. And I only have a couple people, but once we have the whole district, you're going to have a lot of people, so you can search for their name up here. And then when you're done, you click add selected. And now that will be in there shared with me. The other thing, those options down here that we got by right clicking are also up here over on the right. Once you click on it, you can come over here, you can move it, rename it, add a person to the project, or delete it. For this whole area, you can also sort, and you can change the view. So this is also similar to Google Drive. You can have list view, or you can have the grid view with the icons, and that's just up to you what you prefer visually. The media tab up here in the center is going to be all of the media that you've uploaded, or in this folder, My Exports, those are videos that you've edited and completed and published. So if I click on My Exports, these are videos that I published. And from here, if I right click, I can download them now that they're done. I can move them. I can share it to a project. So if you make a short little video and want to share it to your students for a project that they have, that's a good way to do that. You can share it with everyone. A note about the shared with everyone file, that is literally everyone in the district. So if you put something in shared with everyone, everyone in the district does have access to it. If you delete something in shared with everyone after you've put it in there, it does go away for everyone in the district. In this right click menu, you can also rename or delete. And just like in the other page, if I click on it, up here on the right, I have all of those same options that were in that drop-down menu. If I want to go back out of the folder, I click the arrow. If I want to create a new folder, right-click in the gray area or use the plus sign that's at the bottom right. And then to access shared with everyone, I would come over here in the shared with everyone. To import media that you want to put into a video, you right-click and click import. From here, you can drag and drop. You can click browse to select to pull something off your computer or out of Drive. And to just go straight to Drive, you can click the Drive icon in the bottom left. And you can add photos, you can add videos, and you can add audio clips. Over here in exports, these are just your published videos. So right here, these are videos that I've published. If I want to, again, I have these options to sort and change the view. I can right click to download, add to gallery, which is a feature I'll explain later, move it to a folder, rename it or delete it. And as always, those options are also up here on the right. Gallery is an option to showcase videos, and you can showcase your students' videos as well. It is district-wide. You could create a gallery, and it's kind of recommended for maybe PD or something that only managers can see, and managers are going to be the teachers or the admin. It isn't going to be the students. So if you want something to create a gallery, it is something you can do here. I would maybe upload videos like that to Flipgrid or another platform, because you probably want it to just be your classroom. I don't know if you'd want it to be the whole district, but if you do want to add something to the district gallery, you can by clicking add to gallery, and then it gives you the option to make a new playlist, so you could select several students' videos and then you can put them in the main gallery. The templates tab lets you edit, add, and delete templates. So if I come in here, I can down at the right, which is again behind me, there's a blue plus sign. And if I click on that, it lets me create a new template. So that would be, like I said earlier, if you want all of your lessons to have the same format, or if you have an assignment you want students to do and you want to create a format that they have to input information into, that is how you would do it. From here, you can right click and you can modify a template. You can rename it, duplicate it, you can come into this template options, which lets you decide whether it's a draft or live. Live means other people can use it. Draft means that it's not available for other people. And you can also delete it. And those options are up here as well. This would not be where you come if you want to start with a template. This is not going to let you do that. To start with a template, you have to be in the dashboard and click Start with a Template, or you have to be in the video editor. You won't have the admin category right now. With the free version you will, but once we have it, the admin will just be for admin. What you will have here instead is the groups. It'll have groups right there, and groups are going to be your classes. So if you do decide to have assignments for your students with WeVideo, this is how you would organize it. It's kind of similar to Google Classroom or other options. You can add a group with the blue plus sign down at the right, or you can right-click in the gray space. When you create a group, you can select members, but again, this list is going to be populated with all of the members in the district. So a better option after you create it is to come in, and if I double click, it opens my class, and there's a group code down here that I can send to my students, and they can put that in and join the class. So that is what this tab is for. This would also be where you assign assignments. So if I come in, I can start a group project, and then that will lead into an assignment, but we'll talk more about those later. So the main thing that we want to do with WeVideo is edit our videos. To make this simple, we're going to start with a template. The first thing you might notice here is that we have a bunch of layers down here on the left, and that's how you create layers in your video. And you can move things from layer to layer, and you can, if they're not a video, if they're text or images, you can make them longer or shorter. There are also audio tracks as well as video tracks, and these will default to saying video or audio, and you can rename them by clicking and just putting in a different name. You can also add more tracks by clicking this plus sign over here on the left, and then you can add a new video or audio track. On the left, these are your different things that you can add in order to edit your video. So once we have WeVideo paid for with the school plan, we will have access to a bunch of different stock media. So what I'm going to do for now, I can't publish with these, but I can show them to you. So let's say I want to add this right here. I'm gonna, now see how it didn't fit perfectly? I can either trim it to fit, or I can insert and push. So that just pushed this text over a little bit so that video would fit. Now, if I play, that's the background behind this text. Now, the only reason that that text is showing up over the video is because it's in a higher track. So if this text had been in the lower track, this picture would have appeared over the text. You wouldn't have been able to see it. So that's an important thing to know, is that unlike maybe in slides or PowerPoint where you can right click and move the order to move things to the back or move them to the front, with the video editing, your bottom video track is always going to be your base layer, and as you go up, those are going to be your layers that are higher up in the scheme of things or in your order. So if I add a layer, let me show you how that works. I added this track and it automatically came up there. If I move this, now you don't see the text. So that's an important thing to know. And then I can see it again because I moved it below. Let's say I want to get rid of this track. I just come over here and hit the trash can. I can also trim my video. So I brought in this little video clip. If I want to, I can trim it that way. I can also cut it. So if I move this blue, see how when I moused over it, I got these arrows? I can cut in the center by clicking the scissors on the right of the blue, and then I can come over here and I can cut again. Oh, sorry, I have to click first. I can come over here and I can cut again. And now this center place, if I click this menu, I can hit the trash can. And now that part of the clip is gone. So if you've taken a video yourself and you want to take out a little blooper, that would be how you do that. Another option I can do, so if I come over here, if let's say I want this to appear slowly, this blue in the background, instead of just being on the screen. If I click these 3 dots for that track and I click show levels, see how these green lines appeared? What I can do is I can click on that clip and I can take this white dot and I can bring it down. And now if I come here and click play, see how that came in slowly instead of coming in all of a sudden? I can also come like this. Let's say I don't want it to come in all the way. I can bring the whole thing down. Sorry guys. There we go. Like this. So now if I play it, it's just not quite as opaque. When you're searching the media, so that's how you kind of edit the video clips, you can also look for audio. So let's say I put beach and I come over to this all on the right, I can search by images or audio. So now let's say I want to delete this. I don't like the music. I click on that tab, I delete it, and now let's say that's what I want. I pull that down and I play, and now I have a different soundtrack. Notice that just like there were these green levels here, this audio track already has the levels shown with the blue. So video will always be green and audio will always be blue. So I can click on that dot and bring it up, and I can also, by clicking on it, I can create new dots like that. So now it's going to gradually get louder. And just like with the opacity, I can change it so that it doesn't give above a certain level, so that it would just stay there. You can also favorite. So see these little white hearts? If I click these hearts, it will add those to my favorites. And to search my favorites, I just click this heart in the top right, and then it'll bring up everything that I've favorited before. The only thing is see, now I can't search through my favorites. You do have to just kind of scroll through it and look. But that's how it is. For my media, these are going to be the things that you uploaded. So when we were here and we uploaded in this spot, that was that's where it's going to appear, is right here in the My Media. You can also right click and import from here. So you don't have to import before you start editing, but you can. You can also access any shared media that's been shared with the district, or if you have project-specific media, it's going to be in here. And so if you share with students and make a project for them and have a specific template that you want them to use, that will be where it is for them if you have students using the videos. You can also create your own media in here. So that you can import here. We right-click to import, but you can also import by clicking here. You can record from this tab, and that will be, it can be screencast or video, and you can also narrate. So for instance, let's say I got rid of this, and you can click delete or the trash can. If I want to, for these videos, now that there's no sound, I can click narrate and then record, and it will record me talking as the video goes, and at the end it'll just sync nicely. So that's in there. Text is like this lesson title was text that was already created. You can also come in here and there are more options, as you can see. So like if I take this and I drag it here, and now I play, you can add text over you. And if you want to, because it's text, you can spread it out since it's not a video, and it'll just stay there longer before it goes away. You can also, if I double click on it, and all I did was just double clicked, you can change the text, you can change the colors, you can also change the font, and then you can change the size. Notice that here I had to have it on manuals. It doesn't do that for all of them, but if it defaults to auto, you can go to manual and change the size that way. The folders over here on the left just let you search by different categories for the text. Audio are the audio sounds. So if you want free music for now while you're playing around, you can be in this first folder. The sound effects also have all their own folders. And then there's the premium music, which we will have access to once we have our subscription. They were talking about in the webinar, apparently the stock media category is newer. And so they are moving their audio over to their stock media. I don't know how long that's going to take or if they're going to get rid of the audio tab, but just be aware of that could be a change that happens. You can also add transitions. So that's what the transition tab is for. You have standard and then fancy, even though some of the standard are pretty fancy anyways. And the way you do that is you come over here and just click on them to see what it looks like, and it will preview it in the right. And then you can bring that down and drag it between two options. So let's say I'm going to shorten this, and I pulled this other clip over. If I come here and click play, there was the fade out blur. So let's say that I want to add this transition. This is what it's going to look like. And since I had a space in there, that's why it turned black. So what I can do now is I can either lengthen this transition or I can pull this out. So for now, let's try lengthening this transition. And then I'm also going to pull this over. So now I can click play again. And notice if I click on this, it shows me the type, and I can change the type if I want to, but I can also apply it to all of the clips. So if you want all of your clip transitions to have the same transition, you can just click all. You can also delete from right here by clicking on the trash can. You can also just right click and delete, or you can click and hit delete on your keyboard. Last are backgrounds. If you want to, you can add a background. There we go. Notice, and that's why I didn't go. See how it turns red? That lets you know that it's not going to work. And then the green lets you know it's going to work. So I can put this background in, and then I could come to this text and drag and drop that. And then I have the text over the background. And just like before, if I double click, then I can change that text, I can change the colors, and I can change the sizes. Other options that you have here are to add themes. So if I come into themes and I change it to one of these themes, I can preview them. This is kind of the most obvious, so let's use this one. Notice that down here, it automatically replaces your soundtrack, all of your transitions, and the caption formatting, so all the text that you might have added, but you can unclick those if you want to. But now we have this theme, and you can kind of see how it'll look different. So it's completely changed how this feels, right? And you'll notice now that it added the theme music down at the bottom. And then you can see you have access, just as before, to change the levels of the volume. Let's say you don't want access to all these features, you want something simpler. The way you do that is you come over here in this menu on the left, and you click Switch to Storyboard. Now this also works for students. According to the people at WeVideo, the storyboard that I'm about to open is supposed to be meant for your K through 2 students, while the timeline, which is what we were working in just a minute ago, is supposed to be good for students 3rd grade through 12th. Obviously, you're going to have to kind of assess your students and see what they'll work best with. So now with storyboard, notice we don't have multiple tracks, we just have one track. And it's just going to play through. But I can come in here and I can edit a clip. I can change the effects of it, and I can trash it. I can also come to my transition and change my transition. And I can click and drag my clips like that and move them around. But I don't have the multiple tracks. I can come in and change my audio. So now my audio will be different. But I don't have the option to change it throughout. I can also record or narrate like I could before by clicking on this. And then over here is where I can change my theme. So it's just a simpler layout. There's less to play with, but also less to kind of get confused or mix up. When you're done with your video, I'm going to come back over to timeline. When you're done with your video, you can come over here on the right and click finish. And I had premium content, and since it's the free version, I can't use it. So let me take out that premium content. So I'm going to come over here and click finish again. It sets a title, but you can obviously change your title. From here, you can choose a thumbnail from your video. This is where you can choose audio only if you want it to be a podcast. You can also decide how to download it in standard definition or high definition. And you can choose destination. So it defaults to WeVideo, but you can send it to Drive, and you can also send it to YouTube if you want to, if you connect it. And then it defaults also to public. If you don't want it public yet, you can undo that. Then click export. And it's just going to have to process for a little bit. So if I go in here, you can see that it doesn't have an image yet, even though it's already taking up a space. Something to note is your completed videos will be here in exports, but you can also still access and edit them. So I could come in, this video is published, but I can come in and edit it and then republish it and have two videos that are different, and they both came from the same starter video. So that is an option. If you're viewing it in your exports and you want to make edits, you can come back and edit them again. Or if you just want to use it as your base, kind of like the template, but maybe a little bit more complex, then you can come and edit this again.